Millie? Are you there? I just wanted to thank you for today. I know I've been keeping you waiting for a long, long time, but I just wanted to thank you for your patience and for agreeing to marry me.
No, Arnie, thank you so much. You have no idea how long I had been waiting for this. I was so happy when you got down on one knee for me and asked if I would marry you. I can't tell you how many times I had pictured you doing that exact same thing in my head.
I know, I can't believe that we're finally engaged now. We started dating when we were both 23 years old, and it's been 7 happy years together with you.
I know that this doesn't mean that things are going to be perfect between us from now on. I'm sure that there are going to be plenty of challenges that we'll have to go through from here on out. But I'm just happy that we'll be going through them together.
I know what you mean, Millie. I really am so happy about how things went.
I know. This was a perfect day, and I'm so grateful to have someone like you in my life, Arnie.
By the way, how exactly do you think we should go about making the announcement to my dad? And your dad, for that matter. I guess there's a lot of people we're going to have to make calls to now. And given that both of our dads work in the same company, they basically see each other every single day. Maybe we should just go see them at work and tell them both at the same time.
Yeah, I was also wondering about what the best way to go about doing that would be. But I think that might be a nice way to get 2 birds with 1 stone.
So, then do you just want to go to their office tomorrow when we can tell them then?
I really think that any time would work for me. I don't think I have anything going on tomorrow. So as long as we find a time that works for all 4 of us, it shouldn't be a problem.
Great. In that case, I'll ask my dad when he thinks would be a good time to go over and be able to talk to the 2 of them at the same time. When he gets back to me, I'll let you know what he said, and we can decide our plan.
Sounds good to me. Thank you for doing that, Arnie. I appreciate you asking about that. Also, speaking of telling people about our engagement, have you put any thought into how we should go about telling your mom?
I've actually been trying specifically not to think about that, if I can be perfectly honest with you.
Well, it's not like I can't understand why. I mean, when we first started dating, she was always telling you to break up with me since my dad was a single father. I mean, we didn't even tell her that we were actually in a relationship until after your parents split up. But we were dating for a whole 4 years before that.
Yeah, I mean, I think my mom actually still isn't sure whether or not we're still dating. Although, judging from some of the things she says, I'm not sure she knows that we are. I think maybe she didn't really understand when we tried to tell her that we were dating because she was so wrapped up in the divorce and all that.
Right. Well, now that we've come this far, I wonder how she's going to react hearing that we are, in fact, dating each other right now. More than that, we've just gotten engaged. It's going to be a shock to her.
Yeah, I think you're right. We'll have to think of a way that we can tell her about it without giving her too much of a surprise.
Do you think something like that is even going to be possible?
Well, it's been about 4 years since her and my dad have gotten a divorce. And the last time that I talked to her was after that happened, to try and tell her we were still dating. But I haven't spoken with my mom since then. I mean, we're basically estranged if you think about it. To be perfectly honest, I was thinking that we really don't even have to invite her to the wedding, if we don't want to. And I think my dad would probably agree with me on that one.
You really feel that way? Well, I guess you would know better than me since I've hardly interacted with her as well.
I know, that is one thing that I regret between us. I should have explained all of this more clearly to you. But I'm sure you can see why that was difficult for me after you met my mom.
Please don't beat yourself up about this at all, Arnie. I know that you were just thinking about my well-being and how I was going to interact with her. I really do appreciate you looking out for me.
Thank you for being so understanding. You don't know how lucky you make me feel to be with you. I really am so happy that we're engaged now. It really is like a dream come true, Millie.
I feel the exact same way. It's like I said, I know that we might have some challenges up ahead, but we'll get through them together.
I know that we will. Anyways, I'm going to talk to my dad and ask him what time he thinks we could go over to see him. I'll let you know what he says.
Sounds good to me. Thank you so much for doing that, Arnie.
Arnie, are you there? You've got some serious explaining to do, young man. I happened to hear from a friend of mine the other day that you were going to be getting married today. What is the matter with you, son? Why wouldn't you tell me, your own mother, that this was going to be happening? Why am I having to find out through the grapevine and the day before it's happening? Well, lucky for you, I know how to act fast. I've already found a place that's willing to rent me a dress. But unfortunately, I didn't have enough time to make an appointment at the hair salon. But I have no idea just what you're thinking trying to hold a wedding without your own mother there. Whoever heard of that happening? Anyways, I'm on my way to the wedding right now, so I'll see you soon. Hello there. I take it that this is the phone number for Millie, yes? I really have to say I am just shocked to see you here at my son's wedding. I mean, just what on earth do you think you're doing here, huh? I thought you and my son broke up years ago. I have no idea why in the world Arnie would invite an ex to his wedding. But I want you to know that you seem to be acting awfully close with my son. I just want you to know that you better not be thinking of trying to flirt with him or anything like that. Because I am not going to have some little girl who was only raised by her father hanging around my perfect little boy. I told you years ago that you both needed to break up. And I haven't changed how I feel about since then. Do you understand me? I realize that a lot has changed since my days when men were worried about the age of their wife or if they were divorced before. But this is too much. You need to quit stalking my son and realize that you've already lost him, okay? It's over. So just leave him alone and let him get married. So you thought you could just ignore the messages that I was sending you, huh? Well, I didn't go through the trouble of hunting down your number just to be ignored. Just remember that you forced me to take things into my own hands, got it?
I was wondering who it was that came up behind me, grabbed me by my collar, and started dragging me out of the venue. And lo and behold, when I turned around, it was you. I didn't even think that you were invited to the wedding in the first place. Isn't that right?
You have no idea what you're talking about. I'm Arnie's mother. Of course I'm invited. I just have a right to be here. But as for you, I want to know just what you think you're doing here. Don't you know that Arnie ended things with you a long time ago? I want to know what you're doing here.
What am I doing here? Did you seriously just ask me that? I think that I'm here for my wedding day, thank you very much.
What on earth are you talking about? You think that you're going to marry my son? You're just his creepy little stalker. You must really be crazy if you think that this wedding here today has anything to do with you. At all. Don't you realize that Arnie is here to get married to his real bride? You need to learn your place and leave him alone.
Learn my place? How's this for my place? You do know that I'm Arnie's boss, don't you?
What do you mean by that? As boss of what? What are you going on about now, you delusional woman?
Look, I'm going to go back into that venue and I'm going to get married. But you were never even invited here in the first place.
But that can't be right. I'm Arnie's mother. Of course I'm welcome to be here.
No, you're not. Arnie didn't invite you and you two haven't even spoken in years. Don't you get it?
What are you saying? That he's cut me out of his life or something like that?
That's exactly what I'm telling you. Now do not disturb our wedding again. Or else. Arnie, are you there? I think we have to talk about something really quickly.
Millie, I was wondering when I was going to hear from you. Are you okay? What happened? I was just stepping out to get some stuff from the car while helping to set up, and I noticed that my mom started sending me some messages. She said something about how she was going to force her way into the wedding if it was the last thing she does. Have you seen her around here?
Oh, I've done more than just see her. We had a little altercation, actually.
You mean you and her bumped into each other? That's crazy! What happened?
Well, after you stepped out, she barged her way into the building and grabbed me by my collar out of the venue. She grabbed my collar and my wrist, and I think she really hurt my right hand. Thankfully, I'm left-handed, but still, I'm not happy to be getting married after suffering an injury from your mom. But thankfully, one of the friends who was helping us decorate is a doctor, and he looked at it. He said it isn't serious, and it shouldn't cause any serious problems for us.
Got it. Well, that's really good to hear. But if my mom is here, then I'm going to try and find my dad so we can figure something out.
Please do. I'm sure this isn't going to be the last that you see of your mom today. So if you can handle her, that would be great.
Mom? What in the world do you think that you're doing here, huh? You've got some nerve showing your face around here.
Arnie, what a pleasant surprise. I was wondering when I was going to hear from you. What do you mean, what am I doing here? I'm your mom and I'm here for your wedding.
But you weren't even invited in the first place. You know that, right?
What do you mean by that? I thought that was some kind of mistake or something.
No, it wasn't a mistake at all. I didn't invite you to my wedding, and we haven't even talked in years. I didn't even send you a wedding announcement, much less an invitation. Just how did you even figure out this was happening today? And more importantly, just what made you think that you were entitled to be here when you weren't invited and we haven't talked in forever?
But Arnie, please, you're being unreasonable.
I'm being unreasonable? You attacked my bride at a wedding you weren't even invited to. Just go home already.
Now you listen to me, son. Like it or not, I am your mother and I belong here.
We don't even have any preparations for you to just show up like this.
How could you do this to me? I thought that you broke up with that sad little girl. I told you that you were not going to be marrying someone raised by a single father.
And just who cares if she was raised by her dad? Why does that matter to you at all?
Because there is no way that a single father would know how to raise a girl well. Not to mention the fact that it probably means the two of them are poor.
And you actually out of your mom mind? First of all, Millie's father is a doctor.
Wait, what? Millie's father is a doctor?
That's right. He's a doctor who actually is a partner in several different clinics around town.
Wait, so he's a doctor and an entrepreneur.
Why are you pretending like you didn't know any of this? I know for a fact that I told you all of this when I first told you that Millie and I were dating.
Did you really tell me? I guess that I just don't remember is all.
Well, I did say so.
But I don't remember that. You can't be mad at me for that.
I don't know what I'm going to do with you, Mom. You're just such a prejudiced, judgmental person, and you never listen to anyone. Now look, Millie and I are going to be getting married tomorrow, and nothing is going to change that.
Arnie, don't you realize what you're doing?
Much better than you do, Mom. Much better than you do. Now do not interrupt our wedding again, or else.
Millie, are you there? We have seriously got to talk about something right now. I didn't believe you when you said it about Arnie, but are you really his boss? But more importantly than that, I was asking around and found out that you're my husband's boss as well?
Well, you two got a divorce 4 years ago, so I'm not sure if he's your husband anymore.
I didn't ask your thoughts about my relationship status. Just answer the questions. I didn't even know that he was even working for the same company that you were. So I want you to tell me why he's working with you and why he's working under you. Answer me right now!
Well, if you really must know, your husband's company went bankrupt 2 years ago.
Wait, you're telling me that my ex-husband's company went bankrupt 2 years ago?
That's literally what I just typed, yes. Anyways, I heard about that from Arnie, and there just happened to be some openings in my company. So, I put in a good word for him, he went through the hiring process, and in the end, he was placed in my department where I'm the supervisor. So yeah, I was able to give him a strong recommendation, and because I knew his skills, I knew that he would be a good fit for my department.
So that's it. It all makes sense now.
Sorry, what makes sense? I don't really trust that you know anything at all of what's going on.
I mean that in the background, it was always you.
Sorry, was that me? Literally, what are you talking about this time?
I mean that on the day of your wedding, when I dragged out of the venue, I told my husband that I wanted to be with him again. I told him that the only reason I said that Arnie couldn't marry you is because I was thinking about his happiness. I thought that if my ex knew that I was only thinking of our son, that he would take me back. But he said no. He said that he would never, ever marry me again. He told me that you attacked his boss and marrying you would ruin his career. I had no idea what he was talking about until I put it together that he had to be referring to you. So, this is all your fault. This is all part of your plan to ruin my life.
I'm sorry, but I was never doing anything like that, and I don't care about who you marry. You and your husband divorced for your own reasons. And from what I hear, it mostly had to do with you spending all the money your ex made. You were so greedy and selfish that he realized he just couldn't be with you anymore.
How dare you say that to me? You don't know what you're talking about. You need to learn some respect.
I really don't. In fact, this whole conversation is just silly. The next time you hear from it, it will be through my lawyer talking about our lawsuit.
You're going to be suing me? For what?
For breaking into a wedding that you weren't invited to and spraining my wrist. Now, goodbye. Apparently, Danny's selfishness and poor spending habits only worsened after her divorce. I found out later that she was swimming in debt from all of this. I think her approaching her husband was an attempt to find someone to pay her debts. She thought that if she could protect her son from his stalker, that he might take her back. It's just too bad she didn't realize that that stalker was her son's fiancé and ex's boss. The lawsuit proceeded, and Danny was forced to pay for my injuries as well as the fee for the trespassing. I told her that I wouldn't cancel her legal fees if she agreed to sign a restraining order. And Danny realized she had no choice but to agree if she didn't want to go deeper into debt. She was also banned from contacting me ever again, while Arnie blocked her on every medium he could think of. Things are back to business as usual, however, except that now Arnie and I are happily married.
This is Brenda, am I right? We just exchanged line addresses, so I thought I would try sending you a text. You there, Brenda? Maybe this is a good time as any to ask you a few pertinent questions. Oh, hey Becky, right. Good evening. Good to hear from you so soon. It was nice meeting you when our families met the other night. I was a bit nervous, but it was all very enjoyable, wasn't it? So, I'm sure you already know all about me, right? Oh, of course. You're the wife of my fiancé's brother, which will make you my sister-in-law in the not-so-distant future. I look forward to being a part of the family. What should I call you after we marry? Do you mind if I continue calling you Becky? Would you rather that I call you by your real name, which would be Rebecca, right? Becky's fine. I've never really liked the name Rebecca anyway. And it sounds sort of old-fashioned. It makes me feel old for some reason. Oh, really? All right, then I'll call you Becky. I prefer that too. Sounds way younger and accessible than Rebecca. So what was it that you wanted to ask me? Was it something important? My husband tells me that you're not working at the moment. Not even a part-time job. Is that true? Yes, that's right. Why do you ask? I'd just like to know is all. What are you doing now? Just lounging around the house, or are you working at home, like the remote online stuff we recently hear about? Yes, that's right. Most of my work I do remotely from home. Give me the details, would you? I can't get a good grasp of what you're doing when you just say, I work remotely. You sound like a robot or something. Oh, yes, sorry. I guess you can say I send out images and messages through social media, stuff like that. Excuse me? Sending out messages and photos and the like, is that what you're saying? I'm not asking about your hobby, Brenda. I want to know what you do for a living. Actually, that is my work. It's not a hobby, as you suggest. Not many people can really make money just posting on social media unless they have some big sponsor or something. You're delusional if you think that'll work. Only a small percentage of people can do that. Besides, I just can't fathom a person like you. An ordinary run-of-the-mill woman like yourself would have the creativity or acumen to make money on social media. So what you're actually saying is that you're unemployed, isn't that right? This social media stuff is just a mere hobby. Oh, no, I do have some income. It's not like I'm unemployed, as you put it. If you're not bringing home any money, it means you're not working, my dear, which is the definition of unemployed. Really, I am working and bringing in income. Yeah, whatever. Anyways, what I wanted to say was that if you're in financial trouble, and I can see you headed in that direction, I just don't want you relying on me for money, that's all. Oh, is that so? I don't think you have to worry about that, Rebecca. If you don't want any family contact with me, well, I'm okay with that if that's the way you want it. Oh, yeah, all right. I just wanted to put that out there so you know where I stand going forward. What I also wanted to say was maybe you should seriously think about simply nullifying this whole engagement. I think it would be for the best. Pardon me, nullify? You mean I shouldn't get married? Is that what you're suggesting? I better get going. We'll talk again.
Hey Brenda, are you okay? What's this about?
Hey Paul, what are you talking about? Is there a problem?
It's about my brother's wife.
Are you talking about Becky? Or should I say Rebecca?
Yeah, that's right. She contacted me and started telling me all this weird stuff about you. I was just worried. We're not even married yet, and I'm already hearing this bitching from Becky. I was a bit concerned, you know?
Yeah, well, we did exchange line messages, but the last time we met face-to-face was at the dinner meeting last month. She sends these silly messages saying stuff like, I'm way more attractive than you, kind of stuff. Harmless kid stuff, really.
Oh yeah, I remember you showing me that text conversation a couple times. Boy, she never gives up with that nonsense.
Did she say something to you, Paul? What did she say?
To be honest, it was pretty appalling stuff. You sure you want to hear it?
Well, I can imagine what she said, so I wouldn't be surprised. Go ahead.
Okay, get ready then. She said, if you marry that lazy, jobless leech of a woman, I want nothing to do with you. And if that wasn't enough, she continued with, if you were marrying an attractive and stylish woman, she would be a nice ornament, but that unappealing and unemployed freeloader? No thank you. She told me to nullify the engagement now. Sooner the better, she said. I know, kinda low, huh?
You can say that again. But I suppose it can't be helped about what she said about being unemployed. I was sort of vague regarding that part. I didn't want to be too fancy on our first meeting, so I toned down my makeup and picked that simple dress. To be honest, I didn't expect to get such a reaction.
I'm really sorry for all this, Brenda.
You have no reason to apologize, Paul. You didn't do anything wrong.
Yeah, well, she is my brother's wife, and I can't ignore the fact that she's a relative.
But it's because of my vague explanation of my work. She's just figured I was making my hobby sound like a real job. In a sense, I don't blame her. Anyway, maybe I should have been more upfront about it.
Well, that's not your fault at all. You had good reason to be vague about your work. You know what, Brenda? I don't think your choice of makeup and a more subdued choice of clothes was in any way wrong. In contrast, Becky's flashy clothes and thick eyelashes are way too tacky for my taste. As a matter of fact, everyone there was a bit taken aback by her way too flamboyant fashion choices.
Yeah, I know. I checked out her Instagram page the other day. Boy, what was she trying to prove with that makeup? Like an insect trying to attract the opposite sex.
That's an interesting way of putting it. You think she's trying to attract the opposite sex, maybe?
I'm not sure, but as a woman, it sure looks that way. But what do I know, right?
But why get all dressed up for a meeting between relatives? Makes no sense.
Yeah, that was sort of uncomfortable, wasn't it?
Anyways, I already told my folks as well as my brother about what you really do, so that's not a problem. As for Becky, my brother is waiting for the right time. But if things continue, I was thinking of just confronting her myself and explaining everything to her. Maybe that would be the more suitable route to take.
Don't get all worked up about it, Paul. Your brother said that he had plans, so leave it up to him. He'll work it out. Maybe he's got his own strategy all worked out. You don't want to disrupt his plans, right?
Sorry, Brenda. This is such a hassle for you, isn't it? I hate having to put you through this.
Don't worry about it, Paul. I'm fine. I've dealt with people like Becky hundreds of times in the past. She doesn't compare. I can deal with it just fine.
But it's an area Becky would be really interested in, and I just can't understand why she hasn't figured it out. At the meeting, I was super nervous that she would recognize your face and would go totally berserk. I totally thought she would know it was you on sight.
That's how it usually is, these things. You just don't expect it. Your mind doesn't register. Don't worry about me. I'll just play along with Becky until the wedding. I can handle her, no problem. There's no need to worry, Paul.
Really sorry, Brenda. I appreciate it.
So, Brenda, you've decided not to nullify that engagement like I suggested. I warned you about this. Oh, hello, Rebecca. How are you? I heard you were going to be coming late to the wedding. Can I ask you what time you'll be here? We have to make preparations. I'm sure you understand. The wedding ceremony is just about to begin, so I suggest you get here pretty soon. Yeah, well, I'm not sure I will make it in time. Probably get there right in the middle of it all. I was planning to just skip this silly affair, but my husband was so adamant that I attend, I reluctantly agreed. What a total waste of time. I have much better things to do than attend this dopey wedding. Well, as long as you're coming. But just remember that I am a popular Instagrammer, which will of course attract a considerable amount of attention, so just be ready for that. Ha! You had it coming, Brenda. I warned you about this. Rebecca, what the hell was that today? Why did you do such a thing? All I did was make a grand entrance into your boring little wedding and make a surprise speech. Did you enjoy that? A surprise speech? All you did was snatch that microphone from the host and make a fool of yourself. What an awful thing to do to a person's wedding. Oh, poor girl. I did it to pull the lid off the real you, to expose your true identity, the jobless fake that you are. So sorry that everyone had to know the real you, the unemployed freeloader pretending to be some social media big shot. I didn't want to be associated with you as a family member, so I took the initiative and made my position clear, so there would be no misunderstanding later on. I hope you understand. So what did you think? Did my little speech convince you to give up on this marriage? You must have been so embarrassed that you will never be able to go through with this partnership. Just to be clear, I don't want to be a part of a family with the likes of you. You do understand, Brenda, right? I mean, it would be such an embarrassment to say you're a relative. How many times have I said that I really don't care to have any family relationship with you? You go on your way and I'll go mine. We don't even have to interact. Why can't you just accept that? It's not about just not having contact. I told you about my Instagram page, right? You look through it all the time, right? As you can see on my Instagram page, I am a makeup specialist. I have a lot of followers who follow my makeup techniques and heed my advice on matters of beauty. But if my many followers learn that a jobless, plain Jane like yourself is a relative of mine, I'm finished. Or at least it would smear my reputation. And you tell me you're also doing social media stuff? Probably just uploading idiotic videos and messages, but you see, Brenda, if it gets out that I'm somehow associated with you, much less family related, oh my God, it would tarnish my good name forever, and I just could not have that. Any potential danger to my good name has to be eradicated for good before it gets out of hand. Oh boy, I really don't know what to say. Well, you can thank me for a successful speech. But after I made that speech, they kicked me out of there pretty quick, but that drab little ceremony was canceled anyway, right? No, it wasn't canceled. It continued to the very end. It all went perfectly except for that little speech incident partway through, but that was soon forgotten. Excuse me? They didn't cancel the whole shebang? Everyone was a little shocked at first, but most got over it. Some even thought it was just a prank. No way, you're lying. The timing of that surprise speech that you made was pretty good, though. Everyone sort of cringed after that. I hate to say this because I sound like I'm boasting, and I assure you I don't get any satisfaction in doing that, but among the many guests that were here, a lot of them were here to meet me, a pretty well-known influencer. Again, I hate to brag. Right when you started that speech, we were right in the middle of a photo and signing session with all my fans. Excuse me? Influencer? What the hell are you even talking about, Brenda? I'm saying I'm a well-known influencer, you know, a content creator on social media. I know exactly what an influencer is. You don't have to explain. So that means you've seen my face on Instagram then? Huh? See you? Yes, I know that you follow me on my page and you even liked me a bunch of times. As a matter of fact, you liked me on every photo. Wait, are you serious? When you barged into the room and snatched that mic from the host, you were so hyped up that you didn't get a good look at me. If you would have taken a good look, you would have recognized me right away because I was wearing the usual makeup that I normally use on Instagram. If you had only looked my way even for a second, I'm sure you would have realized who I was. Are you saying that normally you wear a more subdued sort of makeup? Is that what you're saying? Yes, that's right. I had a bad experience with this stalker once, so when in public, I try not to attract much attention by toning down my appearance. Just a way of protecting myself. I guess you can say it's kind of like a disguise. Wait a second. The people I follow on Instagram are limited. I only follow certain people, not any ordinary influencer. I probably only follow the top 10 influencers on Instagram. Are you saying that you're one of those top 10 people? Precisely. That's exactly what I'm saying. Why didn't you tell me this sooner? If I would have known. I made a complete fool of myself. Was this all on purpose? Of course not. Your husband asked me not to tell you. He thought it would be better. Excuse me? My husband told you not to tell me? Now why in the hell would he do that? He knew how you would react, is probably why. Once you found out I was a well-known influencer, you would use the status of your family reputation to me and blow everything out of proportion. I guess he didn't want you making a total fool of yourself. What? He said that? Yes, but I suggest you ask him directly. I don't want to put words in his mouth. From here on, this is an issue to be worked out between husband and wife. Brenda, are you there? Oh, please talk to me. My husband, he just divorced me. What did I do that was so wrong? All that makeup and clothes I needed for my Instagram page, I bought it on his credit card and my husband found out about it. I told him that I needed that stuff for my Instagram page. Besides, we're married, and so what's so wrong about sharing funds, right? But it turns out that his credit card was linked to his personal savings. Money he saved when he was single. I used a considerate amount, like $20,000. So after the divorce, I was told I would get nothing. It would have to reimburse him for the stuff I bought. Is that fair? What am I going to do? I can't pay him back for all that with just my part-time job money. Brenda, could you lend me some money? Please? An influencer like yourself, you make pretty good money, right? I'll pay you back in no time, so please, Brenda, help me out here. So please, $20,000. Please, I would really appreciate it. If you could add a little more so I could get back on my feet, oh, that would really be helpful. Sorry, Rebecca. I think I'll pass on that. And if you don't mind, I'm going to block you. Wait, please. See you around, Rebecca. Please, Brenda, help me out, please. Right after the wedding and that so-called surprise speech, Rebecca's Instagram page lost all her followers and went crashing down into the digital abyss. Someone at the wedding recorded the whole incident on their phone and quickly uploaded it to social media, and we all know what go viral means. I was surprised her Instagram page went down so quickly after that. Her dream of becoming a popular influencer vanished without a trace. After the divorce, she was relegated back to her parents' place back east. She was given one of those senior citizen phones that only have 3 or 4 important numbers preset and with no access to the internet. And I heard that she was only allowed to have no more than $10 in her purse. And of course, no credit card of any kind, only cash. Her parents got her a job just down the street at a relative's business, so they have her monitored 24/7. She's more like a prisoner now with nowhere to go. All she does is work to pay off her debts. Everyone in the neighborhood knew her story, what with that viral video and all. Actually, she was somewhat of a celebrity over there. Not exactly the kind of fame she was dreaming about.
Hi, Rosita. I finished inputting the data in the spreadsheet, so can I go home now?
What?
I mean, even you just went outside and aren't doing any work, so that means it's alright if I go home now, right?
Fiorina, I'm still negotiating with our clients for a business deal, you know? I'm not outside not doing any work. I'm currently at our client's office. And besides, do you know what time it is right now? Or is it that time flows differently just around you?
What? I don't know what you're talking about.
It's still 2 in the afternoon. You still have 3 hours until you can go home.
Yeah, but I'm finished with work. I don't have anything to do anyways.
If that's the case, then get some work to do from our manager. I already told you that he's in charge of educating the new employees, right? You can't just go home because you finished work early, you know. You get paid to work a specific number of hours here.
What? Can't I just do that tomorrow? What do you mean by educating the new employees, even? You sound like a mother-in-law that's bullying her son's wife.
Huh? A mother-in-law?
Yeah. Just because you're the department head doesn't mean you can talk down to me like this. Besides, you're already 43, right, Rosita? I bet you're just jealous because I'm still at the youthful age of 20. Let me guess, you're the type of person that bullies their son's wife at home, right? That's not right, you know.
Just so we can be clear, I'm single, you know? I don't have any children either.
What? But you're already 43. Isn't it already too late for you to have any children now?
Well, I do plan on getting married in 3 months, though, and it's none of your business whether I have children or not. We were talking about how you were about to get back to work, right?
What? You're getting married at the age of 43? Just what kind of pervert are you marrying? Are you sure you weren't getting scammed or something? He's probably just going to disappear with all your money one day. Are you sure this is a good idea, Rosita?
I know exactly who I'm marrying, so you don't have to worry about me being scammed. I don't see a point in talking about my private affairs any longer.
Come on, you're such a killjoy, Rosita. At least tell me how old this husband of yours is.
No. I'll talk to the manager for you and tell him you're finished with the work he gave you, so get your next work from him.
Huh? Fine. Rosita, I did a bit of investigation after our last conversation, but apparently you're marrying someone crazy, right?
Huh? What do you mean crazy?
Don't tell me, but Did you seduce him into marrying you because you wanted money or something? Well, I guess that's obvious, I guess. Why else would someone want to marry a CEO? What in the world are you talking about? And no, I didn't marry my husband for the money, if that's what you're so interested in. Wait, aren't you supposed to be working right now? You're supposed to be working right now too, you know. Just tell me, how did you manage getting him to marry you? I just can't understand how a guy like that would want to marry you, an old hag in her 40s who's not even that attractive. Is he actually some sort of pervert that's into older women or something? Do your work. My marital affairs are none of your business. Come on, please, just tell me. If you don't, I'll just ask someone else, you know. I'm not going to reply anymore, all right? Get back to work. What? But I wanted to ask you so many questions. Hi, Rosita. I've got something to tell you. To tell you the truth, I think you're going to be very disappointed to hear this, but I'm currently on good terms with our CEO and have a very deep relationship with him. An old hag looking for money like you is a nuisance, to be honest. From now on, I can get the CEO to fire you anytime I want, so don't think that you can tell me what to do just because you're the department head anymore, all right? That's going to be a big mistake, since the CEO, he outranks you, obviously. To be honest, I'd rather you get fired as soon as possible and give up marrying into money like this. You were always nagging on me to do work anyways. You know what? I think I'll try and convince him to fire you right now.
Hey, Rosita, are you alright?
Huh? Hi, Alino. What are you talking about? I'm fine, I guess.
Are you sure? When I saw you at work today, you looked a bit strange.
Oh, yeah. So that's what you're talking about. I did pay a visit to your company today, didn't I?
Yeah, you seem to have something on your mind. Do you want to tell me about it? I wanted to talk to you in the office today, but I had a meeting right after that, so I couldn't.
Thanks for worrying about me, and I'm sorry for worrying you in the first place.
Don't worry about it. I'm going to be your husband soon, aren't I? If there's anything you want to tell me, I'll be here for you, alright? It's only a month and a half until our wedding, and you wouldn't want to have a problem in the back of your mind on the day of our wedding, right?
Yeah, I guess you're right. It's something about work, which is why I didn't know exactly how much I'm allowed to tell you.
Just tell me what you can tell me then. I'm sure it will make you feel better. In my experience, talking about something that makes things a lot less scary or bothersome than it actually is. I'll stop you if you start saying anything that sounds like you shouldn't tell me, so just talk to me.
Yeah, I guess I do want to tell you about it a little. Especially because everyone at work seems to be wanting to avoid the topic because they're afraid as to what Fiorina might do to them if she finds out.
Yep, I'm listening.
Thanks. You see, there's this woman that joined our company during the middle of the work year, and she's very selfish and arrogant.
In a way?
She got into the company in the first place by using her connections with the senior executive director. She was a relative of his, you see, and apparently she thought that this made her better than the other employees. But it seems like she started going out with our CEO recently as well, and so she's become even more selfish and arrogant than she was before. She practically doesn't do any work and just sits in her chair watching YouTube or looking at her phone all day. It would be fine if that's all she did, since we could just ignore her, but she also keeps bothering the employees, telling them to bring her water or stuff. Not only that, but she seems to not be using earphones on purpose, because she enjoys watching the other employees be annoyed at her, but not being able to do anything. It seems like the other employees are finding it difficult to call her out on it since she's the CEO's girlfriend and a relative of the senior executive director. Because of that, it looks like I'm the only one nagging on her all the time, and the atmosphere in the office has become terrible.
I see. That does sound like quite the difficult situation. And? What does the CEO himself have to say about this?
He's completely in love with her and lets her do whatever she wants. I mean, he was always doubted as to whether he was capable enough to be the CEO or not, but now it looks like he really was incapable of being the CEO. The only reason he was chosen in the first place was because his father was the CEO before him.
This company has had a problem with incompetent people getting their positions by leveraging their connections. Anyways, the CEO is of no use anymore. It looks like he's been seduced by a 20-year-old woman and now does whatever she says.
What? 20 years old? Your CEO is 45 years old, right? I heard he's been single ever since he got divorced with his wife 10 years ago. They could be father and daughter if you just looked at their ages.
Yeah, I mean, the two are completely fine with this age difference, so there's nothing really that outsiders like us can say. But just between us, I'm pretty sure that the only reason Fiorina, that's the name of the woman, by the way, approached the CEO was for his money. Everyone's just pissed at the whole situation, and the worst part is that we don't know what to do about it besides just quitting our jobs.
I see. Hey, could you let me handle the situation instead? I think I know how to solve this problem.
What? You?
The chairman of your company is the current CEO's father, i.e. the former CEO, right?
Oh, yeah. That reminds me, you mentioned before that you were acquainted with the chairman, right?
Yep. I used to work with him when he was in charge of the company. He was a lot more competent than his son, I'll tell you that. I can't tell you the exact details of what I'm planning yet, though. You see, I was drinking with the chairman once, and he told me this joke that was at the same time half serious. It was something about how he failed in raising his son, and how he wouldn't make a good CEO, despite trying to raise him for the position. He said that he thought it was in the company's best interest if they just hired some random employee from the office. At the time, he didn't have the proper motive to set things into motion. But if he hears how his son, the CEO, was having a bad effect on the company like this, I'm sure he's going to make the decision immediately.
If there's a chance that things will change for the better, then it's better than just standing here and watching, I guess.
Yep, I'll talk to the chairman first, so just wait a bit, alright?
I understand. I'm counting on you then.
Rosita, is it true that you're going to have your wedding today? But you got dumped by him, didn't you? Why are you going to have a wedding then? I can't believe it. You're even more pitiful than I thought. Is your head all right? I mean, are you seriously going to throw a wedding even though the groom won't be there? You scare me, Rosita. Oh, I get it. You're going to have a mannequin in the place of the CEO, right? That's even more scary.
Good morning, Fiorina. What in the world are these texts that you've been sending me? What do you mean the groom isn't going to be here? I mean, I went to the wedding with the groom, and we're currently preparing for the ceremony together.
What? You're even pretending to prepare for the wedding with the mannequin? Jesus. You're delusional on a dangerous level, Rosita. I mean, I knew you weren't in your right mind the moment I heard you were trying to marry him so that you could have some of his money, even though you're just an unattractive hag in her 30s, but I didn't know you were actually insane. I mean, it's even more scary because on the outside, you look like a functioning adult, but on the inside?
Delusional? What are you even talking about, Fiorina? You have quite the imagination, I'll give you that at least.
I mean, I'm currently with the CEO, you know. It's no use lying to me because there's no way he could be at your wedding at the same time.
Huh?
You already know that I'm dating the CEO, right? I mean, everyone in the office knows already.
Yeah, I know that, but
I think now is a good time to make things straight. It's disgusting to think that an old hag like you is about to become the CEO's wife. He says himself that he wants to make me, the cute 20-year-old girl, his wife.
Oh, is that so?
Which is why you have no choice but to cancel today's wedding.
But how does you dating the CEO have anything to do with my wedding?
What? Are you crying sour grapes now? What? Are you going to tell me that you weren't actually dating the CEO?
Fiorina, could it be the case that you think the person I'm marrying is our CEO?
Of course. I mean, you always nag me to do my work, right? It pissed me off so much that on top of being annoying, you were going to marry the CEO, which is why I stole him from you. I'm going to become the CEO's wife now as well, so it's a two birds in one stone situation, right? By the way, to make sure that you wouldn't be able to steal him back no matter what, we went to the city hall on Thursday and turned in our marriage papers.
I see. So that's what you were after.
Don't say that like you weren't after his money yourself. I still don't know how you managed to get engaged to him in the first place, but I guess that doesn't matter now. Sucks to be you, I guess. If you've understood already, then why not just cancel the wedding? No matter how hard you try, you're not going to get your groom. Just thinking that you're about to have a wedding ceremony with a mannequin from now makes me cringe. Seriously, you should consider entering a mental institution or something. Or is it that you're just getting old and aren't able to think straight anymore?
Fiorina, that person isn't the CEO, you know.
What?
He's not the CEO anymore, to be exact.
Why not?
You weren't at work this Friday, right? That's probably why you don't know about it yet. It was decided in a meeting of board of directors that the current CEO was going to lose his position.
Huh? I didn't hear anything about this from him.
Yeah, well, it looks like he's been keeping secrets from you. Oh, and your relative, the senior executive director, felt responsible for the situation and voluntarily resigned.
Huh? My uncle resigned? But he was the only one of my relatives that was willing to help me. Why was the CEO fired in the first place?
To put it simply, the CEO was released from his position because he wasn't doing his job as the CEO and instead spent all his time with you instead.
What? But he's the CEO. They can't just do this to him. Do you know how much he sacrificed?
I can't really guess as to what it is exactly that he sacrificed. I mean, he's always been incompetent at his job, and ever since he started dating you, he began not coming to work entirely. Seriously, have you ever heard of a CEO that doesn't go to work because he's going on a date with his girlfriend? Also, he didn't do anything about how you used your position as the CEO's girlfriend to get away with not doing any work at the office, right? Do you even know how much this adversely affected everyone else in the office? Well, I guess you do know that, huh? I mean, you did purposefully not use earphones when you were watching YouTube because you enjoyed annoying the other employees.
What do you mean adversely affected? Aren't you being a bit too mean to me? And what's with that accusation anyways? What? I can't not use earphones anymore just because you guys are working? I'm not on the same level as you peasants, remember? Besides, aren't you just being jealous right now? You're just trying to scare me because I stole your spot as the CEO's wife, aren't you?
No, all of what I'm telling you right now is true. You can ask the board of directors yourself if you want. It's not like I'm the one who had him fired. Not only that, but you seem to be making a big misunderstanding, so I'll correct you. It's true that I'm marrying a CEO, but not our CEO, okay? He's the CEO of our business partner.
What? But I was told that you were marrying the CEO.
You probably misheard. By the way, they're our largest business partner, so you probably know the company name. My groom today is the CEO of A Corporations. He's the one who's going to become my husband, not our former CEO.
Huh? But isn't A Corporations a bigger company than our own? It's also famous how the CEO is a 39-year-old and extremely handsome. You're marrying that handsome CEO, Rosita? How did you even get a man like that to marry you?
Yes, I was very lucky to have found such a great man. You see, I would often go to their office to discuss business negotiations, which is how I met the CEO.
Huh? But that doesn't explain why he chose you specifically. I don't get it. What does he see in an old hag like you? This is so unfair. Give him to me. I'll give you my boyfriend in return.
I don't think I need to even bother replying to that, but no thanks.
Humph. You say that now, but you're not going to be so confident anymore when I steal him from you. It's certain that he's going to fall for me instead once he sees me, who, unlike you, am young and pretty.
All right, then why don't you come to our wedding and try stealing him from me? You'll probably just waste a lot of time and money, though.
Of course I'll come. Where's the wedding venue?
Guam.
What? But the wedding's going to be done by the time I get there, right?
Well, yes.
Hold on. You're getting married abroad? Jesus, and to think that me and that old bum didn't even have a wedding ceremony. It must be nice marrying an actual CEO, huh?
I can't talk to you any longer about this because the ceremony is about to start. So, if you'll excuse me.
What even is that? You're just an old hag, but you're going to become the wife of the CEO of A Corporations? And you're having a wedding ceremony abroad? And I just got married with a regular dude who's not even the CEO anymore. This is so unfair.
It seems that our company's former CEO was allowed to remain in the company as a regular employee. Apparently, the former CEO was quite the needy husband. Ever since Fiorina proposed getting divorced because she was now unsatisfied with her current situation, he's become extremely possessive of her. Not only that, but his mother, who was as possessive as her son, moved in with them, and she got pregnant under her supervision. Fiorina was forced to quit her job after this. Not only that, but since her parents had already gotten divorced, she had nowhere else to go, since even her uncle, the former senior executive director and the only relative of hers that hadn't thrown her away yet, gave up on her after she made a mess inside the company. She couldn't run away from her husband and his mother even if she wanted to. I once saw Fiorina, now pregnant, and the former CEO in town while walking at night, but the sight of Fiorina was an expression of complete despair, walking 3 steps behind the former CEO, who in contrast with his wife had a huge smile on his face, was nothing but pitiful. I, on the other hand, started my own business after this whole mess. My husband helps me run my new company, and I'm currently enjoying my new job and my new life as a married woman. Anita! Oh, hello, Flora. Please give me back my son's baseball hat. You can't just go and steal someone else's stuff. I thought he had lost it or something, but then I saw your son wearing it yesterday. Huh? What in the world are you talking about? I didn't do anything of the sort. But the one my son was wearing yesterday was a new baseball hat that I had bought for him. You see, my son is a fan of the professional baseball team on his hat. What? Don't you think that's strange? Because the team on that baseball hat is the juvenile baseball team my son is a part of. What do you mean he's a fan? It's not even a professional baseball team in the first place. Are you sure about that? Who knows? Maybe they just use the same hats. It's true that there is a professional baseball team with the same colored hats, but the team logo on the front is completely different. Oh, and I sewed my son's name and uniform number on the hat, which I clearly saw on the one your son was wearing. What? Seriously? Oh, my bad. Maybe it was your son's hat after all. Yes, the one I bought for my son was slightly different now that I remember it. He must have picked it up thinking it was his. It must have been an honest mistake. There's no point in your son having that hat anyways, and if he's not a part of the baseball team, then people will know immediately that it's stolen if they see him wearing it. Besides, the coach at my son's baseball team is Mr. Tor, so if he sees your son wearing that, you know? So if it was an honest mistake, just like you say, then just give it back already. Mr. Tor? That crazy old man I sometimes see at the park? He's not crazy, he's just very strict and direct with people. Mr. Tor lives nearby, so if he sees your son wearing that, he's sure to call the police on you. The police? Are you sure I have to give it back to you? I mean, my son seems to really like it, and your son could always just get a new hat because he's a part of the team, right? No, it's my son's hat, and I'm not just going to let you have it. If you don't want to have the police called on you, then give me back the hat. Fine, I'll put it in your mailbox. Understood. Please bring it now. What? Now? Can't I just give it back to you when I feel like it or something? No. Give it back right now, please. If you don't, I'll tell Mr. Tor and the police. Fine, I get it. I'll bring it right now. Sheesh, you're making such a big deal out of this. It's just a hat, you know. I don't care if it's just a hat. What you're doing is theft, Anita. Don't do anything like this ever again. You're accusing me of being a thief? I told you it was just an honest mistake, and my son must have picked it up thinking it was his because I had bought him one that looked similar. I'm telling you, it was an honest mistake. Yeah, and he never noticed my son's name and uniform number sewed on the hat? I made sure to make it stand out precisely so no one would take it by accident. Next time, I won't be so forgiving and just call the police immediately. Fine, I won't. Just shut up already. You're making such a big deal out of this. Hey, Flora, I saw you entering your house just now. What in the world are you doing? Huh? What am I doing? I went to the supermarket to buy some stuff. You went to the supermarket? I don't think you have the luxury to be doing such things considering the situation. You called me out so many times before, but when you're the one in trouble, you just lie like it's so easy for you. That's what's called a hypocrite, Flora. All I ever do is make honest mistakes, but what you're doing right now is simply despicable.
What? I don't know what you're talking about, Anita. Why are you in such a fuss? Your child just got taken away by an ambulance. I don't understand how you can just be so calm. Huh? Are you sure that it was my child? Yes, he was wearing your son's hat. I don't know who called the ambulance, but you noticed it come, right? There were so many people watching as well. I don't get why you can just pretend you don't know what's happening. Your own child got into an accident and was taken to the hospital, but you won't even go visit him since it's too much of a hassle for you. Hold on. I'm telling you, leave your house and go to the hospital right now. By the way, that accident wasn't my fault, all right? Huh? What do you mean it wasn't your fault? First of all, I don't know what you're talking about, and second of all, I never said it was your fault. Anyways, my son is in the house right now, so it can't be him. Huh? Are you sure about that? Yeah, he's practicing baseball in the yard right now. What? He's practicing baseball? But he just got into an accident and was taken to the hospital. How could he have recovered so fast? Are you being serious right now, Anita? I'm not saying that he's already back from the hospital, but that he was never taken to the hospital in the first place. The ambulance you're talking about is the one that drove by our house on the way to the main road, right? Yes, that one. So your son was taken to the hospital after all. No, I'm telling you he wasn't. Are you even listening to a word I say? Why do I even bother talking to you? At the time the ambulance came, I was at the supermarket across the main road. When I got home, I saw there was a crowd of people gathered at the side of the road. I saw there was an ambulance as well, so I thought something must have happened, but I didn't bother looking and just went inside. Oh, and once I got home, both my son and mother-in-law welcomed me back, which means that my son wasn't the one who was hospitalized, and I don't know what you're talking about. But... Oh, and this is completely unrelated, but we already moved. Huh? Oh, when did you move? You see, my husband was relocated at work, and so we decided to move to where his new office is. We've already bought a new house. But I have work as well, and my son has school, so the three of us, me, my son, and my mother-in-law, are going to be staying here for a bit longer. My father-in-law and my husband have already moved to our new house. We're planning on going there tonight and having dinner. Besides, my son is right in front of me, so what you've been saying all this time is nonsense. You must have mistaken someone else for my son. What? Then who was that taken away by the ambulance? I could have sworn it was your son that got into an accident. Anita, you really shouldn't bother yourself with such things. It's none of our business. We'll just cause trouble if we start a commotion over something we don't have anything to do with. And if we did have something to do with it, we would have gotten a call from the hospital or police or something. If the person who was carried away was our neighbor, then we'll find out soon who it was and what happened, right? Why are you insisting so much that it was my son anyways? Did you get a close look and think it was him or something? Maybe you thought it was my son because it was some kid from nearby that looked like him, but thankfully nothing's happened with us here, so don't worry. Oh, is that so? Oh, it's fine if that's the case, though. I don't care if it has nothing to do with your son. Bye, then. Hello, Anita? I found out who was taken away by the ambulance yesterday. You seemed to be bothered about it a lot, so I'll share the information with you. Who was it? Apparently it was the son of Mr. Tor, the coach at my son's baseball team. What? That was Mr. Tor's son? Yep. I went to today's baseball practice with my son and saw that Mr. Tor's son wasn't there. So I asked him about it, and he told me about yesterday's accident. Apparently a bicycle that was going full speed crashed into him when he turned a corner. Luckily, he wasn't seriously injured, but he hit his head, so he went to the hospital to have it checked up just in case. Oh, is that so? I'm glad nothing serious happened to him. But apparently the person that ran into him fled the scene, and they still don't know who it was. What a sick person. To think that they would crash into an elementary school student and just flee the scene without even thinking to help? But if they had stayed and helped, surely they would have had to face the consequences of crashing into a child. It's only natural that they fled the scene, in my opinion. Is that a crime, do you think? Of course it is. Fleeing the scene is what a coward would do, Anita. An honest person would stay and do whatever they could to make up for his or her mistake. Even though it was just a bicycle, what this person did was clearly illegal. You can't just be going that fast on a sidewalk. It's against road laws.
Yeah, you're right, I guess. Besides, if it was an honest mistake, they probably wouldn't have had to go to prison or something like that, right? But I don't know that even city bicycles are subject to road laws. Huh? It's so scary that there are all these laws we don't even know about, don't you think? I'd better watch out myself. Oh, I remembered I have to do something. Bye. Okay. Flora, something terrible has happened. What should I do? What do you think is the best thing to do at times like this, Flora? I need your advice. Why are you panicking so much? The police are at my front door. I'm scared to open it, so I'm pretending that no one's home. What? You can't just pretend to not be there when the police are at your door. I'm pretty sure that's illegal. If you didn't do anything, there's no reason to be scared of the police, so why don't you just open the door and see what they want from you? No, I'm not going to open the door. Why not? Because you did something and that's why you're hiding from the police? Huh? What are you talking about? I didn't do anything to deserve being locked up. Do you suspect me of being a criminal or something? I never said that you did anything that would get you locked up. And if there's nothing suspicious about you, then there's no need to hide from the police, is there? I mean, well, I didn't mean it like that. It's just that... If that's the case, then you should just open the door and talk to them, right? But that's... I can't, all right? It's hard to explain. You panicked at the sight of the police, and so without even thinking, texted me asking for help, even though it will only make things worse. Did I get that right? I think the best thing for you to do right now is to just accept that we all know about what you did now. What are you talking about? You're not making any sense. Hey, Anita, don't you realize that you messed up yesterday during our conversation? Huh? What do you mean I messed up? When I was telling you about the bicycle accident Mr. Torr's son got into, I only said that a bicycle crashed into his son, right? But for some reason, you knew what type of bicycle crashed into him, saying something about how it was so scary that even city bicycles are subject to road laws. Up until then, you seemed to know nothing about the accident, but for some reason you knew the type of bike that crashed into Mr. Torr's son. Seriously? I thought it was strange how you seemed to be so panicked about the accident at first when you thought it was my son and not Mr. Torr's son that was hospitalized. You suspected me from the start? Well, it's not like all this proves with certainty that you're the one who crashed into Mr. Torr's son and fled the scene. All I did was tell Mr. Torr, the victim's father, about my suspicions. Why did you do that? What, did you think I would just stand by and let you get away with this? Oh, and by the way, it's not certain that it was me that caused the police to come to your house like this. There's a possibility that you were suspected of being the culprit from the start and that they were already investigating you. Why is that? Why would they suspect me? Do I really look that much like a criminal? That's not what I meant. Apparently, a lot of houses around here have security cameras watching the entrance to their house. So they might have already found evidence that you were the culprit before I told Mr. Torr anything. Security cameras? Yes, you only moved here 1 year ago, so maybe you didn't know, but this area was once terrorized by multiple thefts a few years ago. Theft? Yeah. After that, everyone learned a lesson, and they made contracts with security companies and set security cameras and stuff. So you know what that means, right? Hold on. So you're saying that I was caught on a security camera? I don't know for sure, but surely the police around here know how a lot of people have security cameras in this area. And so they probably asked them to cooperate by providing footage. Oh, but it's just a possibility, all right? No way. This can't be happening. Anita, what's wrong? They found out. They know I did it. To think that it was Mr. Torr's son as well. Anita, are you seriously just realizing this now? But I even got rid of the evidence and threw away my city bike. I thought that they wouldn't have anything to tie me to the accident. What? And they still found out? How is that even possible? Besides, it's that baseball hat of theirs that's the problem. He was wearing the same hat as your son's, which is why I thought it was him when I ran into him. But it had to be Mr. Torr's son of all people. I shouldn't have texted you that day. This never would have happened. Anita, do you realize that you're basically telling me that you ran into Mr. Torr's son on purpose because you thought he was my son? What are you trying to do confessing your crimes to me like this? What do you want me to do about it? You think I'm going to help you or something? Huh? No, it's just that you were careful enough to get rid of the evidence by throwing away your city bicycle. But for someone that goes that far, you're pretty scatterbrained, Anita. Maybe if you were a bit less stupid, you would have made a better thief. No, that's not what I meant when I said that I didn't mean that I purposefully ran into Mr. Torr's son because I thought he was your son. You're misunderstanding. I'm going to tell the police, okay? No, don't! My punishment is just going to get worse if you tell them. Apparently, the police knew from the start that she was actually home and just pretending to not be there. Anita tried to flee from the back door, but they were already waiting for her there and captured her. Apparently, she was arrested without even undergoing an investigation first. Oh, and the city bicycle that she disposed of was apparently stolen as well. After a bit more investigation, the police found out that she's guilty of several such petty crimes, and so Anita was locked away behind bars. Anita's husband, on the other hand, went to all the families that Anita had caused trouble for and apologized, and after that, he divorced Anita and moved, bringing their children with him. Anita's parents fled without saying a word, ashamed at what their daughter had done. So, when Anita finally got out of prison, she had nowhere left to go. And since she still had to pay for several alimonies and hospitalization bills and stuff, she was hardly free, even though she just got out of prison.
Thank you for watching. Please subscribe and hit the like button. See you next time.